Yeah. Hey. Ship from the shores of Cape Coast, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Senegal, black gold they were hauling. 400 years it was hard then. Kept striving to be free from Marcus the Bois. Can't forget Kwame. For reparations they did pray. To unite in their honor we do say, Yanko, Yanko, Africa. Yanko, Yanko, Africa. Yanko, Yanko, Africa. Yanko, Yanko, Africa.
Welcome to Yanko Africa. My name is Ama. I want to thank you for tuning in on today. If you are listening to us on YouTube and you're a subscriber, once again, guys, I can never, ever thank you enough for being a subscriber. And I'm doing my best to grow this channel organically, and guys, it is growing. I haven't reached my 1,000 subscriber yet, but hey, that's not my sole purpose. YouTube is a tool, one of the tools that we'll be utilizing, but our main website, which is being redesigned, it's just going to be a simpler website. It's going to be released hopefully soon, all right, and so you guys will be able to check that out. But right now we're using YouTube, and you can also go over to our website, which is www.yankoafrica.com or www.yanko.africa. A number of you have been reaching out and wanting me to contact you about various properties or different things. What I would ask you to do is go to our contact button on our page and click contact and submit your questions there. If you want to know more about a property, please just, state your question specifically, and then I'll get back to you concerning your questions. Okay. I do appreciate each and every one of you, and thank you very much. And if your email is getting lost, because I did have one person who stated that they sent their email, but I haven't been able to locate it. Okay. So if your email is getting lost, just reach out to me and we'll see what we can do from there. Okay. All right. So guys, I want to talk to us today about I guess you can put this in one of my shares on our repatriation footprint. Even if you're not repatriating to the continent, if you're planning on being on the continent for business or visiting quite often, we want to make sure that our footprint, our repatriation or, reassociation footprint is a good one. Okay. And so one of the things we want to avoid is becoming, in the business arena, is becoming, diaspora gangsters, business gangsters, and approaching the continent with a gangster mentality. Gangsters and mobs, they always want to, claim their territory and claim their area, right? And anyone else doing business in that area or doing business in a different manner, instead of promoting their business, their job is to tear down the other person's business. Okay. Now, if I haven't said it before, guys, I'm a person who likes to operate in an unfeigned way. Okay. I think it makes life easier. And when I say unfeigned, meaning I don't like pretenses, I don't like pretending, and I don't like tiptoeing around subjects. Okay. So my intent is not to, hurt anyone's feelings or discredit anything that anyone else has shared, but to help us all, including myself, to examine ourselves. Okay. I have another YouTube channel that I had for years, and I share on topics, and, so on that channel, I present things as it is. Okay. And so this is what I'm going to do on this channel, even though this channel is not the same genre, and this is for business. Okay. Although I'm sharing things with you guys, I'm very transparent about my intent is to help the diaspora. That's who I want to help, specifically the diaspora. And as I'm also giving out lots of free information, this is also a form of business for me. I make no reservations about saying that. Everybody, I think, going back to the continent needs to do business. Even if you're going to stay in America, it's a great idea to establish some kind of business with the continent. Okay. And so with that being said, as business people, we need to not bring over the gangster, turf, mobster kind of mentality and way of doing things to the continent. And so when we come to the continent and we see people operating, say, for example, in the field that you're interested in, for my one particular field, because I'm not limited to just real estate, but say for the real estate aspect, okay? And guys, go back and look at that share that I uploaded on fashion and sewing. Even if you're not into fashion and sewing, there's so many different things that you can do. And remember, you can utilize the number one resource on the continents, which is people, okay, who are willing to do the job for you and work for you and work with you, okay? So go and check that out. You may discover a niche for yourself, okay? But there are various niches, and there are things that, you know, I do and plan on doing and expanding in various areas, right? There's lots of room, and there's plenty of room for everyone, okay? Even in the same industry. So the reason why I have these icons up here on the screen, just in case you're wondering, is that when we see companies such as Facebook, YouTube, Vimeo, Twitter, Pinterest, or however you say it, Snapchat, Instagram, you never see the CEOs or founders of these companies sitting online and you know, making critiquing or picking apart the method in which another person or another company does their business, okay, and saying, you know, I'm going to do my business this way. No, they just go out there and do it. And the audience, and they present what they offer, okay? And then in presenting what they offer, people can see the difference between their companies. And if asked, they can state the differences between their companies. But the most successful people don't go out. And I think not only the most successful, but the people with the, I think with the most favorable impact are those who concentrate on what they do and not really tear down, whether directly, indirectly, intentional, or unintentionally, tear down other people's methods of doing what they do, okay? And so I am encouraging us, okay, that when we go to the continent, respect the models that are there. See the ways that we can improve or that we can bring another flavor to it, but respect the systems and models that are there. When people, for example, in real estate are agents, the agency market is different. Like I said, I'm going to bring probably in the future registered agents for Ghana, for example. When people say that their, you know, agents are just, you know, loose and they're not doing anything, they're not registered, they're not regulated, that is not true. Okay, there may be people who are operating unregistered, but you should look for a registered agent who operates under the Ghana for one company code and also under any other codes related to Ghana, the Land Act and Property Act of 1962, and I think it is, and the Landlord Act and all of these things, okay? Listen, there are laws in place. The problem is with enforcing many of the laws, okay? So it's not an issue of people not having any laws. It's just enforcing them, okay? But even so, there are people who are acting and who have been acting for years or conducting out business within those guidelines, okay? And so we should be careful not to paint a whole market of people or an industry as being, you know, just a bunch of renegades just doing whatever they want to do. Although there may be, just as there is in the United States, Europe, or wherever we're coming from, okay? So we have to respect that. Also, I've witnessed, you know, someone just carelessly tear down another person's business. And the person has worked hard to build their business, but they were going on information that they got from someone else who was disgruntled, right? And that person didn't state and stress that that person who wasn't even obligated to make things right went out of their way to make things right, okay? I don't want to go into the details of it. And that was conducted by someone who was born on the continent, but they were working with someone who is a member of the diaspora, and together, you know, based on the information that they got from them, they put information out there about a company that wasn't true, okay? And so we should really watch what we do. and not try to tear one another down in order to build ours up. I'm very transparent about business, about fees, about costs, because everything costs. Now, when you compare African real estate to American real estate, you're going to find out that they're not as far apart from each other as you may think. Once again, I may save that to bring a expert or registered agent on, or I may break it down in another share myself. Okay, so we really need to educate ourselves before we put information out there and paint a whole industry as being unregulated, full of scammers, businesses on even online businesses. We have to be very careful. Those things come back to you. I believe that you will reap eventually what you have sowed, and especially when it comes to a person's business, you have to be very careful about how you are so careless in tearing down their work and their sweat and their efforts, especially if you don't have the full knowledge on the topic. Okay, and so let us keep that in mind. And also, if you are deciding to do something differently, you have to, one, make sure you're operating within the guidelines and the laws of that country. Okay, if you want to, for example, in real estate, step around agents and do your own thing, when I hear that kind of talk, and the person, say for example, wants to do away with agents and work directly, and I've seen comments like this. This is no shade to you, but I've seen comments like this. I would only suggest that to make sure that you are dealing with the real owner, because that opens the window to so much fraud, because you have to go straight to the Lands Commission, and it takes months and months and months to search that out, whereas a real estate agent has inside people who are more than likely other agents who have relationships with people at the Lands Commission who can get that information for you. Now, we all have to go through the process, and we all have to pay, whether you're an agent or not. But one way or another, you're still going to have to deal with someone who's going to be working with an agent. Okay, or you're going to have to deal directly with the Lands Commission, and you're going to have to get that information on behalf of the owner to present to the client, and that's going to require you to be a registered business. And unless you are willing to pay $250,000 in some cases, $500,000 in some places, guess what? You're going to have to work with a local. You're going to have to work with someone who's probably already in that industry. So we need to really be careful, guys. We really need to be careful. And once again, that's not shade to anyone. I'm a very direct person, and once again, I say I try not to present things where I have to tiptoe around stuff. Okay, I'm saying what people are saying, not only on my channel but on other channels. Okay, and what questions that people have. Now, I thank the Most High Yah that most people that communicate on my channel have been very upfront and clear and specific about their questions, non-attacking, non-insulting. I'm very, very thankful for you guys. Always be free to speak your mind and your concerns, but we should also maintain respect when we're relating to one another. Okay? So if you find a market that you think can be improved upon, by all means, go ahead and do that. But don't try not to. Well, not try not to. Do not, let me clarify that, do not tear someone else's efforts down because you plan on doing it differently, okay? Just do you. Do what you do. And another thing, don't present yourself as doing things for free when you may not be charging for that one thing that the other person is charging for, but you're actually charging for something else. So at the end of the day, you're still charging. You understand? Don't say I'm free. I'm not charging this. These agents or these business people or these tour guides or these, home builders or these people that are selling land or these people that are, building places and renting them out, or these, restaurant owners or these guest house owners or whatever business we're doing. Let's just be honest. We're doing business with one another because we know one another. Even if we don't actually know one another, we're doing business with the people that we communicate with the most, and the people that are doing the same things and have the same interest as we are. Those of us who have been ahead, we know that we see niches and opportunities, and we've had experiences that give vision for other business ideas that we can bring to the continent, right? So we're doing business with one another, but just because we're doing business differently, or we plan to add or tweak the model, doesn't mean that the person who's doing it differently should be torn down, okay? Or seen as unscrupulous, or, or a scammer, or excessive, or whatever. And not only those of us who are coming to the continent, once again, those who are already on the continent, be very careful, okay, about tearing down the way they do things on the continent, because at the end of the day, they have to eat just like you have to eat. And I can speak, for example, concerning agents. Agents on the continent don't have a stipend. Agents in the U.S. can have a stipend that they can draw from until they get their commission, and it's deducted from their commission that they earn on a sale. Okay, car dealers in America receive a stipend on their service. They're there from the morning until the evening. Do you think they're showing up every day and wearing nice ties and jackets and suits and stuff and not getting paid? No, they are working and they're receiving a weekly stipend. So when they do eventually make a sale, that is deducted from their commission earned, okay? So just because it's done a different way doesn't mean that it's not done in the U.S. So we have to be very careful, guys. And that's my take on our repatriation footprint when it comes to business, when it comes to the way we're going to bring different concepts to the continent, and the way we see those who are currently operating on the continent in various industries that we may be working in the future, and also our fellow diasporan who's coming back to the continent and who will be doing business. Let's not take a gangster attitude. We are our brother's keeper. If we are truly, many of you, I don't call myself a Pan-Africanist, but if you are truly a Pan-Africanist, then a Pan-Africanist accepts others, okay? Accepts others who have a vision that's good for the continent, okay? That's good for the continent. You don't tear each other down by religion, okay, or ideologies, but is it good for the continent? And that's it. If the business is not robbing, if it's not stealing, then it's good business. If someone decides to charge a commission or a fee, and if someone is ready to pay that fee, it's good business. I can do tours. I am a certified travel agent, have been for many years, okay? And I can do tours. I can put them together. I can bring people to the continent, and some of the things that I'm doing for land tours. But you know what? When I see people who are doing safaris and such, people who are doing, let me name a name, like Phil has a specialty or a niche where he's doing high-end tours. That's what he's doing. I'm not going to tear down his high-end tour. I may say I can do a tour for less, but it's not going to be his tour, okay? The tour that I'm going to do is going to be for my niche. Or if I do the same tour that he's doing, if somebody's willing to pay him $10,000 or $6,000 or $5,000 for a tour, and I can do the same tour for $3,000, it costs what it costs. And if somebody wants to pay more, let them pay more. If they want to pay less, let them pay less, because there may be value that you don't see. Okay? So let's not tear down what other people are doing because they see value in something that you may not see value in. Okay? That's my take on it. I think it makes good repatriation footprint for us to respect one another and not bring over a gangster mentality when it comes to business. Shalom and Yah bless.